Which sketch comedy show fired Adam Sandler right before he became a box office legend? And while you're guessing that, here's another one. What sport has Adam Sandler quietly obsessed over for decades? Put your brain to work and leave your guess in the comments. I'll reveal the answers soon. But first, welcome, I'm Dick Carlson, and this is The Versed Masters of the Screen. Today, we'll peek into the life of a man who's more than just a comedy legend. He's an actor, a writer, a producer, and one of the smartest businessmen in the entertainment industry. He's the guy who built an empire playing lovable goofballs while quietly amassing a fortune that rivals the industry's biggest names. To understand how he got here, we've got to go way back before the box office hits, before the Netflix money, back to where it all started. Adam Sandler was born on September 9th, 1966, in Brooklyn, New York. He was the youngest of 4 kids, growing up in a middle-class Jewish family. His mother, Judith, worked as a nursery school teacher, and his father, Stanley, was an electrical engineer. When Adam was still a child, the family moved to Manchester, New Hampshire, a quieter, smaller town where he spent most of his youth. Growing up in a blue-collar household, young Adam learned the value of modesty and humor. He was the class clown, a kid who could make anyone laugh with a silly voice or a spontaneous joke. At 17, despite having no dreams of global fame, he stepped onto a Boston comedy club stage for the first time. It wasn't perfect, but he was fearless, and it caught the attention of the right people. While pursuing his passion for comedy, Adam enrolled at New York University's Tisch School of the Arts. He graduated in 1988, but more importantly, he spent those years sharpening his voice and style. Along the way, he was noticed by comedian Dennis Miller, who saw potential in the young performer and recommended him to the producers of Saturday Night Live. That connection would change the trajectory of Adam's life forever. In 1990, Adam joined Saturday Night Live, where he was not as a performer right away, but as a writer. But it didn't take long before his unique comedic energy landed him in front of the camera. He quickly became a standout with characters like Opera Man and Canteen Boy, and musical sketches that blended humor with absurd sincerity. Although he wasn't the traditional SNL star, he was quirky, unpredictable, and deeply original. His songs were weird but catchy, and his characters were awkward but oddly endearing. For fans, Adam Sandler became one of the most memorable parts of early 90s SNL. But just as his popularity was peaking, he was unexpectedly fired by NBC executives in 1995. For most comedians, getting fired from SNL could have been a crushing setback. For Adam, it was a launch pad. By then, he already had a taste of success and a growing fan base. His time at SNL gave him confidence, industry credibility, and his first serious paychecks. It also gave him the platform to go bigger, and he did grow out of it. Right after leaving SNL, Adam dove headfirst into film. His first major hit, Billy Madison, released in 1995. It was offbeat, immature, and undeniably hilarious. And critics weren't kind, but audiences loved it. And that trend only continued from here. His box office success followed with Happy Gilmore in 1996, The Waterboy in 1998, and Big Daddy in 1999. These weren't just popular film. They were cultural landmarks for a whole generation. So far, his brand of humor was loud, childish, and chaotic. But behind it was a keen understanding of what made people laugh and what made characters lovable. By the end of 1999, Adam took things further by founding his own production company called Happy Madison Productions. It was more than just a business move because it gave him control and freedom, and it let him build something bigger than himself. From that point on, Sandler wasn't just starring in films. Now he was producing them, shaping them, and casting the people he wanted to work with. He filled his projects with longtime friends like Rob Schneider, David Spade, and Steve Buscemi. These were people he trusted and stayed loyal to from the beginning. As the 2000s progressed, Adam Sandler began evolving in ways few had anticipated. While he remained a king of comedy, known for his goofy antics and offbeat characters, he also started to reveal a deeper, more subtle side of himself, both as an artist and a person. While his career was shifting gears, and so was his lifestyle. In 2001, Adam made his first major move into the world of real estate, purchasing a stunning Malibu beach house for $3.1 million. Then came 2002 Punch Drunk Love, a film that marked a sharp turn from his usual comedic fare. Directed by the critically acclaimed Paul Thomas Anderson, the movie cast Sandler as a lonely, emotionally repressed man struggling with rage and vulnerability. His performance was raw, unsettling, and unexpectedly powerful. It earned him a Golden Globe nomination and silenced many of his early critics. Amid his rise, Adam married Jackie Titone in 2003. Jackie was a model and actress who had appeared in several of his earlier films. The couple would go on to have 2 daughters, and Adam, ever loyal to his circle, began weaving his family into his work. Jackie and their children started appearing in small roles throughout his films, giving audiences a peek into the deeply personal and family-driven world that Sandler was creating behind the scenes. By 2004, Sandler added a $12 million mansion in the upscale neighborhood of Pacific Palisades to his growing real estate portfolio. But even as his wealth climbed and his properties expanded, Adam himself didn't change. He continued to live with the same grounded sensibility that had always defined him. He remained close with his childhood and college friends, many of whom were now frequent collaborators in his movies. He dressed in oversized basketball shorts and baggy t-shirts, drove himself around town, and avoided the Hollywood flash whenever possible. That same sense of humility carried into his dramatic roles. In 2007, he starred in Reign Over Me, portraying a grieving man dealing with the aftermath of personal tragedy. The role was heavy and deeply emotional, and once again, Sandler delivered a performance that defied expectations. He followed it up with another standout role in Judd Apatow's 2009 film Funny People, where he played a famous comedian grappling with a life-threatening illness and the emotional cost of success. The movie, semi-autobiographical in tone, allowed Sandler to explore darker corners of fame. It was something his early comedies had never touched. By the time 2010 rolled around, Adam Sandler's estimated net worth had crossed the $100 million mark. But in typical Sandler fashion, none of it went to his head. He didn't chase high fashion or flaunt his success. He stayed loyal, humble, and remarkably consistent. While his fortune grew and the industry's respect for him deepened, Adam Sandler remained the same guy who just loved making movies with his friends and being home in time for dinner with his family. Then came the Netflix era, and with it, a whole new chapter in Adam Sandler's career. In 2014, he signed a groundbreaking $250 million deal with the streaming giant to produce and star in a slate of original films. At the time, the move was met with skepticism. Streaming hadn't yet taken over Hollywood, and some industry voices questioned whether Sandler's style of comedy would find an audience in the digital space. But it did spectacularly. His first few Netflix projects, including The Ridiculous Six, Sandy Wexler, and The Do-Over, brought in huge viewership numbers. It became clear that audiences still loved Sandler, and his content was driving serious engagement. Titles like Murder Mystery, Hubie Halloween, Hustle, and Spaceman only deepened that success. Murder Mystery became one of Netflix's most watched films globally, while Hustle earned critical praise for its grounded performance and heartfelt sports narrative. The original deal was so successful that Netflix renewed and extended it. By 2020, Sandler reportedly pulled in $41 million in a single year, most of it tied to his Netflix projects. The move that once seemed risky had become one of the most financially savvy pivots in Hollywood history. But it wasn't just comedy fueling this new era. In 2019, Sandler took on what many critics now call the role of his life in Uncut Gems. Directed by the Safdie brothers, the film cast him as Howard Ratner. The performance was electric, intense, and utterly transformative. Though he didn't receive the Oscar nomination many had hoped for, the film won him newfound respect from even his harshest critics. As his creative range expanded, so did his wealth. In 2022, he purchased another property in Pacific Palisades, this time a $4.8 million ranch-style home. That same year, he quietly added several more properties to his portfolio, including high-end condos in Brentwood, Calabasas, and a coveted unit in the iconic Sierra Towers in West Hollywood. And in a touching gesture of gratitude, he bought a $640,000 condo in Boca Raton, Florida, just so he could be closer to his mother. Despite this massive real estate empire, Sandler remained famously low-key. Behind closed doors, he enjoyed the comforts of wealth. He has a private chef, a growing collection of rare luxury watches, and a fleet of high-end sports cars kept mostly out of the public eye. But unlike many in Hollywood, he didn't flaunt any of it. For someone who's amassed hundreds of millions, Adam Sandler lives nothing like a typical Hollywood A-lister. In fact, his personal style has become almost iconic in its own right. It's a laid-back mix of baggy basketball shorts, oversized t-shirts, and well-worn sneakers. He's regularly spotted at local grocery stores pushing his own cart, chatting with fans like old friends. There's no entourage, no designer sunglasses, no luxury labels. Instead, he keeps things grounded. Basketball, by the way, isn't just a hobby. It's his lifestyle. Sandler's been seen on courts from LA to New York, dropping dimes in local games, often surprising people with how genuinely skilled he is. In fact, his love for the game runs so deep that his Pacific Palisades mansion includes its own private indoor basketball court. But what truly defines Sandler is his loyalty. He keeps a tight-knit circle of childhood friends and longtime collaborators, most of whom appear in his films time and time again. His wife Jackie and their 2 daughters are gravity to his life. Off-camera, he supports numerous charities, gives generously without fanfare, and has quietly built a reputation as one of the most grounded figures in show business. That reputation was cemented in 2023 when he received the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor, a recognition of not just his influence in comedy, but the authenticity and heart he's brought to generations of fans. As of 2025, Adam Sandler's net worth is estimated to be around $440 million. This is a figure that reflects not just his enduring popularity, but his savvy behind the scenes. His income streams are diverse and strategic. He earns between $20 to $25 million per film, pulls in additional profits from back-end Netflix deals, and continues to generate royalties through his production company, Happy Madison. Though Adam rarely flaunts his wealth, he reportedly owns several luxury vehicles, including a Cadillac DTS, a Dodge Challenger SRT, and a rare Maserati Gran Turismo. But he's more likely to be spotted driving a simple SUV or even walking to a game in sneakers. But behind the basketball shorts and laid-back vibe lies a meticulously managed fortune, crafted through decades of consistency, creativity, and calculated choices. Adam Sandler's journey isn't just about blockbuster paychecks or Netflix deals. It's more about staying grounded while quietly building an empire. What part of his story hit home for you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're into legends who rewrite the rules without ever playing the game, stick around. The next icon's story is on its way.